If you guys are just getting here, Evil Japan just concluded, and there happened to be an Elena build there where players were able to play Elena and also get a sneak peek preview at possible Season 3 system changes. So keep in mind that this build only had Elena, so they weren't allowed to pick any other character. They were grayed out. And shout outs to all the guys that had to line up for like 50 plus minutes to play this build. Defeat Lee, Chris F, High Fight for the translations, and everyone else. So I guess a big disclaimer as well, there was no access to training mode. So just keep in mind, guys, that gas leaks aside, it is impossible for us to fully understand what has actually been changed and to test it properly. We only have like certain pieces of the puzzle here. And also we don't know for sure if this is the final build. So some of these are subject to change. And of course, there could be misinformation. So take all this with a grain of salt. It's just like a fun thing for us to get an idea where Capcom's head at and what we can expect. So I'll try to summarize everything that has been found for you guys. So first off, with Elena herself, the first thing, of course, everyone tested was throw loops to see if Elena has them. And the majority of the players that tested it says that she does not have throw loops. And they mean no throw loops at all. So she doesn't have a forward throw loop. She doesn't have a throw loop from back throw. This was tested in the corner, and she even doesn't have a throw loop with drive rush. So no matter what, if the opponent does wake up jab on her, she can throw them again. Does this mean that throw loops are gone in Street Fighter 6? No, it doesn't automatically mean that. There are still two characters in this game that don't have throw loops, and that's Honda and Chun-Li. So maybe Elena might be the third character that won't have throw loops, because Elena is supposed to be a buttons character. So maybe Capcom, felt that her corner game shouldn't be too crazy with throw loops. Or what I'm hoping is it means that, yes, they are getting rid of throw loops and it's enough is enough. We won't know until that version is released, but this is better. Like if Elena did have throw loops, for example, then we know for sure they're still in the game. But her not having them now, there's a chance, right? And once again, that is in the corner and with drive rush. So none at all. There's no way she can do it. Okay, so besides Elena, they also are trying to find system changes. And another thing they tested is if there's a punish counter state on drive rush. Because right now it's a counter hit when you hit the opponent. Punish counter was another like big request to nerf raw drive rush. And they say it's still not a punish counter state. And still a counter hit state, so that doesn't seem to change. Now don't panic, that doesn't mean that they didn't nerf drive rush, because we don't know if they changed like extended hurt box. Stuff like that's like impossible for us to test without training mode and other characters. So there's still hope. And another thing too is Capcom, they usually go through every single system mechanic in Street Fighter 6 and they slightly tweak them anyway. So this is just only what we can find, right? So the main discovery here was there seems to be some big changes coming for perfect parry. So the weird thing is when they first did their testing, they noticed when they were perfect parrying anti-airs, so when the opponent jumps at them and they went to perfect parry it, they were not getting the screen freeze. And it took them a while to figure out what was going on, because certain things weren't causing the screen freeze, like ground attacks, special moves weren't causing it. And it turns out after a couple of days of testing that Capcom has now made it so that when you do a neutral parry now, you will not get a screen freeze. You'll still get a perfect parry, but it won't be the screen freeze. So what I mean by that is, when you perfect parry a fireball, they made it so that when you'll get this instead. So when you perfect parry neutral, anything like a special move or a button or an anti-air, you'll get this kind of perfect parry instead of the freeze screen. So this changes a lot of stuff, which we're gonna go over. So just to like clarify what I mean, let's say the opponent jumps over you and he goes for a cross out like this. You do a perfect parry. This will not freeze the screen, and it'll be like ping. The second thing, yeah, it will take some time to get used to, because the reason you neutral perfect parry, because you don't know what side they're hitting you on. Another thing they changed is that this includes the ground too. So to get the screen freeze on low attacks, you have to hold down back and press parry. So if someone goes like crouching medium kick on you, I gotta hold down back to get the freeze screen perfect parry. If I do not hold down back and I just do the normal parry like this, I just tap it, you will still perfect parry it, but it will not be the screen freeze. It will be like the fireball where it's like instant. As far as I understand from what I'm reading, because I wasn't there testing this myself. For anything that hits high or mid, so non-low attacks, you have to hold back. So for jump attacks, if I went to screen freeze on an anti-air jump attack, I have to hold back and press parry. Or if it's a ground attack, like, you know, walk in button, I have to hold back and press perfect parry. Okay. Yeah, once again, to get the screen freeze perfect parry, for non-low attacks, it's back plus parry. For low attacks, it's down back plus parry. You can still perfect parry highs and lows, but it will not cause a screen freeze unless you're holding those directions I'm talking about. I know it's confusing. I'm trying to explain it as many different ways as I can. Okay, so the first thing this is definitely going to affect, I think the main reason they're doing this, guys, is because I think they are actually going to remove throw loops. But let's go over the other things this affects too. The first thing this is definitely going to affect is anti-air perfect parry. We'll probably see much less screen freeze perfect parries because you don't know what side. There's some ambiguous cross-ups where you won't know what side it's going to hit, right? So this is especially going to happen when like you're in the corner and you don't know if they're going to be on the left and right side when they're jumping over you. So you just tap it, right? But now, since you don't know, you're probably just going to get a non-screen freeze perfect parry now. Instead of committing, you're like, oh, I know he's going to cross me up, so I'm going to hold right and press parry, right? Instead of holding left. Another thing, too, is that without the screen freeze, for the most part, like anti-air perfect parry, you're only going to get a punish if the opponent pressed the button really early and they're really high up. Because for the most part, they'll be able to block, right? Like that was really high, so I can hit them out of it, you know? Like this. But if they did it like really deep, they'd still be able to block. So even with the screen freeze, it wasn't always punishable. It depends on when they press the button. But now since the screen's not freezing, a lot of times you have to kind of commit. So like when you tap parry, you have to already be pressing what you want to press. Like you tap parry and you press throw, or you tap parry and you press light. So that's going to be a little awkward. And once again, they might be changing something else with parry that we don't even know yet. Like, for example, we don't know if the non-screen freeze parry now has more recovery. And we can't punish anything. There's no way we will know until we get our hands on the actual version in training mode. So there could be actually two different perfect parries now. Another thing this is going to help, like what if you go up against like Honda? Honda does butt slam. This is such a common scenario. There's a lot of times where Honda's doing butt slam. And you don't know if it's going to land on the left or the right. Like, you'll be, like, right underneath him. So you just tap parry, right? But now, this will really help Honda because if you don't get the screen freeze, it'll be easier for him to get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they increase the recovery on it. So now I have to, like, you know what I mean? I have to commit to something, hold back. Back or right, depending on which side it's going to be. Doesn't mean, like, Honda could throw this out mindlessly, because if he does, and I clearly know he's on the right side, then I can hold back and still get the screen freeze. But it'll definitely help him get away with it more. Another thing this would be helpful for is like, man, anything that's like ambiguous. Like this will probably really help any kind of mix-ups now. Like anything that hits you on the left or right, you know? Like Kimberly stuff, JP when he goes to the portal. Like if JP goes to the portal, like man, not even JP knows which side he's coming out on, you know? So like when you naturally try to parry this thing, you don't even know what side to press, left or right, you know what I mean? So you'll most likely just get a non-screen freeze parry, you know what I'm saying? In the mid-season patch, they wanted multi-hitting moves to continue even if the first part was perfect parried. That's another thing too. If you non-screen freeze perfect parry a move that's multiple hits, it'll be harder to punish it. You'll have to like commit a lot more. Another thing that Capcom could be going after is the perfect parry drive rush option select that a lot of pros have been using. The two most common scenarios you'll see that is that like, okay, one of the pro players will walk towards the opponent and they'll just randomly tap parry like this. They'll go like this and just tap parry and cancel into drive rush. So they'll go like this and drive rush at them. How this option select worked was the pro player would walk in and they'll tap parry, and if the opponent happened to press a button as they walked in, then it's like, oh great, I got a perfect parry. But now, since you're walking in, if they do a low attack, you'd have to press down back and parry to get the perfect parry. So even if the opponent doesn't press anything, then they still have a second chance of doing something by doing drive rush, because they're close, they're really fast, and if they get thrown, it'll only be counter hit. Another example of this is when you're knocked down. So let's say you're in the corner and the opponent knocks you down. and then like does like a meaty attack on you. You can do the same thing as you're getting up. So you wake up parry. You wake up parry and then cancel the drive rush. So what happens is if the opponent presses a button, you get the perfect parry and then you get to back throw them into the corner, and then you know what I mean? Then you get to throw loop them. Or if they didn't do that and instead they went for like throw or something, you can cancel that parry into drive rush, and then when the opponent throws you, they only get a counter hit if they weren't going to do like a meaty throw on you. Like this. And what happens here is that normally if you press parry, you should be punished and get punish countered and take insane damage, right? But because you canceled into drive rush, and drive rush is not a punish counter state, you take less damage. So it's like really good. It's a really good option select. It's really powerful. So now with this new change, now if players walk forward and press parry, they won't get the screen freeze because they have to walk forward and press back parry or down back parry if it's a low. So they obviously won't know what the opponent's going to do. And for the wake up option, if Capcom is indeed going to remove throw loops, they want to diminish wake up perfect parry even more now. And this might be a good solution because I was talking about this before in our discussion video, but wake up parry drive rush option select would be much more powerful without throw loops, because now that guarantees that the drive rush will always be a counter hit and not a punish counter hit. And yeah, I think this is just going to hurt perfect parry fishing just in general. The screen freeze gives you so much. If you're not getting the screen freeze, then you know what I mean? You have to commit. When the screen freezes, you see what button the opponent pressed. And there's like a big difference between the opponent pressing like a light attack. If they press a light attack, you're going to get a smaller punish than doing a heavy. You know what I mean? There's going to be a lot more options than if you perfect parried like a heavy. You know, like a heavy, you have like all the time in the world. Like with Ryu, you can do like, you know, forward heavy punch, for example. But on a light, you can't. You won't have enough time. Another thing too this will affect is chains. Pros are getting really good at perfect parrying chains now. So like, let's say for example, someone goes like this. Pros will always like just randomly tap parry during block just to like see if they can get it. But it's, like getting this, there's a difference now. Like, okay, Akuma goes crouch and light punch, crouch and light kick, right? Like this. I would have to go down back parry to get freeze screen on that. But if Akuma went like this instead, like this, then my down back perfect parry won't get screen freeze, because now it's no longer a low, it's a high or mid, right? So I would have to hold down back and then hold back and press parry to get the perfect parry, to get the freeze screen. Like this. But if the opponent did do a low and I'm wrong, you know, one, I'm holding back. So, you know, if I mess up, I'll get hit low. And two, I won't get the freeze screen. So there's a lot just on this information alone that they're changing. They're trying to weaken perfect parry. They're not trying to like remove it completely, but they're definitely trying to hurt the option select. It might be hurting anti-air perfect parry, but the biggest thing I think is that, once again, I don't know for sure. I'm just like theorizing, but I think they're really going after throw loops. I think they are going to remove throw loops, and if they do, they have to make sure parry is not crazy. Otherwise, that's what everyone's fear is.